Good morning, traders, and this is your Aussie South African Top 40 Daily Review. We're starting off on the weekly chart, and as you can see, the last couple of weeks has been one-way traffic. We've blasted through all these resistance levels here, so I'll just use one line here. So every single one of these fractal highs on the weekly should have brought some sellers in, and it didn't. Well, probably did, and then broke at level and just triggered stops. So at this stage, that is sort of the last level of resistance at the moment. So this is still an inside level. That's an inside tail. You can see price came past it. And we've got a couple more to the upside. So there's another one. Okay, and there's another one up there. Okay, so those are kind of, you would have expected something in this zone to happen. Clearly hasn't happened. And what we're sitting with at the moment is we have Rand dollar 1417. That would slightly weaker, so that would benefit the bulls. And 10 cent pretty flat, up 0.13 at the moment. Okay, so if we just look at the daily, you'll see we had a nice inside bar, which you would have expected something to happen to the downside, but that failed, and we broke back to the upside. So we closed on our high. We had a pretty solid green bar as well. But what is concerning me is this little channel that we're trading in. So do I want to be short at the top of the channel? I mean, do I want to be long at the top of the channel? Definitely not. I'd rather be long at the bottom of the channel. Okay, so we can tidy it up. Something like that. Okay, and that's kind of the way I see this at the moment. Okay, now you can see last week we had a lot of indecision. It was only really Friday that we bolted up. Prior to Friday, you would have been thinking this thing's moving to the downside. Then all of a sudden, the buyer stepped in and pushed it back up. So I am concerned with this divergence. You can see how momentum's just getting lower and lower and lower, while price is going higher and higher. So that is a concern, which is another reason why I don't want to be long at the top here. And looking at the hour, I can immediately start putting some levels in. So there's a level there. There's another level there. And those are the areas that I'd be interested in looking for longs. Okay, so I'd be looking at 53,227 and 53,300 and 53,220. 227, add a bit onto that, so 53,230. 53,230 is the one area, and the second area that I'm looking at is 53,300. Those are the areas that I'd be looking for a long. I'm definitely looking up here. Okay, and another way of doing this would be to say I'm looking for a pullback back to the 50 at least, which is this area here of 53 to 30. Okay, so that's kind of what I'd be looking for. Trend is to the upside, so you're obviously looking for longs. You're just not looking for a long up there. You're looking for a pullback and then looking for a long. Let's just get to the closing range strategy. So you can see I'll use these two levels here, and you can see how we gap down straight away onto the target. Okay, and then for some reason we got straight into this and started moving to the upside, which was a fairly decent trade. But not that I see any entries here. You probably would have picked up an entry in a lower time frame, but you can see this double bottom scenario here on the half hour. So this was warning you that there were potential buyers stepping in. So we'll look at it on the lower time frame. But that was a good 600 point trade And if we look at this on the 12-minute, we gap down, hit our target straight away, off a 200 moving average, and then you had the second engulfing pattern off the 200. So I suppose that would have given you your signal. Now, in fact, from a Bull Williams perspective, your entry was on a break of this fractal. So we broke it with this bar, not this bar. That was pretty much a rejection. This, you would have had a short entry below this bar with a stop above it. And then the minute you got this close above it, then that was right. Close above it, I'm looking for a long, get in long here. Okay, a pretty tight stop. And that was your entry. Anyway, now let's just look at this morning. I suspect what you can be looking for this morning is the closing range. Okay, well, let's just delete all the noise first. And this is our range here. Okay, a break to the downside brings us pretty much into a pretty strong level. Look at all the support that was found here. And a break to the upside takes us there. It's got about 4 hours to... I don't think we're going to have anything there. Nope, not after the futures close out. So that's kind of the levels that we're looking at, and I'll give them to you now. Just get the top and bottom in. Right. Okay, so obviously what you're looking for is a break above and below these fractals. Now bear in mind, a break below this fractal here is not a valid short signal from a Bull Williams perspective, because we are above the alligator. Okay, so I'd be wary of that short. Good chance that it's a fake out, that it doesn't play out and then turns and goes in the opposite direction. So to the downside, it's 53270, and to the upside it is 53566. Those are the two areas that you need to pay attention to. But if you do get a break below this, just after the open, be very cautious. I wouldn't have a stop all the way up the top here. I'd have a much closer stop. So I'd be looking at the 5 minute and then have a stop above the first swing high in the 5 minute. Okay, and the only reason for that is because we are above the alligator on the 30. Okay, this scenario here is a little bit different, because a break below this would have been below the red line here. That's kind of a marginal call, but you can see how it played out. Okay, so that's kind of the view that I have at the moment. Still looking for longs, just very uncomfortable about taking a long up here. I'd rather see a pullback. So ideally I'd like to see it just come in and test this area here for a long entry. Okay, if we do get a breakdown here and it does manage to get to this level down here, which I somehow doubt, then it would be an interesting area for a long as well. But I think for me, open range is the way to play this today. Sorry, closing range is the way to play this today, but it may also just meander inside here all the way through to this afternoon. So just bear that in mind as well. Okay, this range is pretty big. It's a 300-point range. So normally with the big ranges, the big closing range like this, you often find that we just meander inside here until something happens in Europe or something happens in the States, and then we suddenly pick a direction. Okay, so that's kind of the view that I've got at the moment. This little bit of divergence here concerns me as well. Not that big, but it is big enough. And if I look at the 4 hour, the only divergence we've got is the awesome oscillator, which is just getting worse and worse and worse, which is always a warning. Okay, so anyway, that's it for me today. I'm looking for longs, just not where we are at the moment. I want to see a decent pullback. And what I may actually do as well is look for my levels on the 12 minutes, 12 or 15 minutes. So the minute we get this kind of price action on a level, then that's going to be my trigger to get in long. Okay. So anyway, guys, that's the way I'm playing this today, paying attention to the closing range strategy, but also very skeptical of any break below a 53270. Any break below 53270, I will be looking for another entry long rather than trading the short. Looking for an entry long, and if we get back into this area here to test it and then start falling off, at that point I'll change direction and look for the short, and specifically aiming for 52970. Okay, but very wary of the shorts, rather looking for longs. Even if we do get down to this level, I'd definitely be looking for a swing long from there. Okay, anyway guys, that's it for me today. I hope it helps, and I'll catch you later. Cheers for now.